Good afternoon, 7th of May. It is 25 minutes past 2 p.m. here in Australia. Here's my latest video blog. I'm going to do an awareness video today, and it is on a $12 trillion industry that has decided to move its entire existing ledger system over to the blockchain to further improve systems and efficiency, and that is the global container shipping industry. Not the most interesting thing that we've ever come across. I mean, I've always intrigued by it, and I always seem to watch it when it's on the news and you see the big cranes pulling up these big containers and just the size of the boats and all of that type of stuff. I have done some imports and exports, but I admit that the shipping industry seems to be living and breathing on its own outside of our normal reality. But it is a massive part of the functionality of the world. If you think about the importance of economics and how important the shipping industry really is, it's massive, and a $12 trillion industry speaks for itself. That's big numbers. So what are they actually going to be doing? And I've really dived into this one. I've opened up a heap of tabs like I do, jumped into the white paper, I've watched a few videos from the founder to get a really good understanding of what they're looking at doing. They've got a really good FAQ page on their website as well. It's actually really detailed. It's not just very, very general. Actually, it's got a lot of questions, and I've sat there and I've actually opened up a few that should be of relevance. What is BlockShipping doing? BlockShipping is a Scandinavian company based in Copenhagen, Denmark. BlockShipping is developing the Global Shared Container Platform, the GSCP, that will enable the savings potential for the global container industry at the tune of $5.7 billion a year by smarter handling of intermodal freight containers. BlockShipping was founded in 2017 by Danish Peter Ludvigsen, who has 40 years of experience from key positions in international container shipping. And I have looked into him. He's actually been around for a long time and knows what he's doing. And like I said, there's a lot of really good information down this FAQ, and I've just opened up a few. In regards to the token, I try to stay away from the token. However, I do like to focus and talk about the connection between the importance of blockchain and the community, and how people are now getting involved in these corporate endeavors and initiatives. Now, when there's a utility token involved, I see it a little bit more, it has a little bit more depth, because when the tokens have a function to run the system, it definitely I think it builds a really good foundation for the future and actually makes them useful rather than just speculation. So what does the token model look like? The GSCP platform issues 2 tokens. So there's going to be 2 tokens involved. One's going to be internal, one's going to be external. The internal container platform token, the CPT, which will be a utility token, and the external dividend token, container crypto coin. So hold on. So the CPT will be the internal container platform token, which is a utility token, and then there will be an external token called the container crypto coin, CCC. So we have a CPT and a CCC issued on the global Ethereum blockchain for the ICO. The internal CPT token will be issued by the industry players when utilising the platform for clearing and settlement of transactions between them. These transactions will relate to a variety of services and fees like capital purchase, container exchange fees, terminal and depot handling costs, and fees collected by carriers. A percentage of the revenue generated from the transaction fees on the GSCP platform will go to a revenue share pool. Through an innovative revenue share model, the funds held in the revenue share pool will be passed on to the owners of the CCP or CCC tokens in a way that reward both short-term and long-term token holders. So it's going to be pretty much like a staking rewards dividend token. I haven't looked into whether or not that falls under the SEC. I'm not too sure how that works. I think if it's considered a utility token to support the network, then it should be fine. However, there seems to be a benefit there for people to actually hold these tokens. And if this can actually get off the ground, it's dealing within, like I said, a $12 trillion market. It's not something to be dismissed. I think it's a very, very solid industry market niche as a target. They're going to be issuing 50 million CCC tokens, and the 50 million is a hard cap, and no further CCC tokens will be issued at any time in the future. So that's of interest to me. There seems to be a level of scarcity about that. It's not a big number, and I'm just double checking that. It is 50 million. The CCC, there's a little bit of a distribution here, but what else is there? The internal and external tokens will be separated, but in an asymmetrical, unidirectional way, so that the external public traded token CCC cannot affect the stability and the price of the internal token CPT. But the internal token can and should support the value of the external token by sharing revenue generated by the transaction volume in the internal system on the GSCP platform with the external token owner. So they're looking to protect the internal integrity of the internal token while rewarding the CCC holders via an exchange of revenue. Now, what is going to be that revenue? I've dived into that as well. To reward the buyers of the CCC by sharing part of the gross revenue of the GCCP, all these C's, and S's platform, we have designed a revenue sharing model. Initially, 25% of the gross revenue from transaction fees paid in CPT on the GSCP will be distributed to the CC token holders. That's a bit of a mouthful. So we're looking at 25%. Additionally, to support the CCC in a free market before the launch, a major part of collective funds will be locked in a market maker fund. This means that if the price at any time after the closing of the ICO, but before the first phase of solution is launched, should fail or fall to a level below 33% of the introduction starting price, then everyone who have bought CCCs during the ICO will be able to sell back their coins to BlockShipping. In that case, BlockShipping will pay back from the market maker fund 33% of the introduction price. So if there's a major swing in the market, this has happened to a couple of ICOs where they've launched and there's been a major difference between one section of their ICO and another, and there's been a little bit of disgruntled behaviour or attitudes towards how that's unfolded. So it looks like they're putting in some protection measures there for investors. However, you can go and have a look and read. There's a whole heap of other questions on here. A lot of transparency, which is always good. Now they've got on their website, they've got these two major, I suppose you want to call them values and senses or parts of their vision and what they're looking at changing. So the first one is looking at a global container industry savings potential of 5.7 billion, and they're also looking at reducing global CO2 emissions. So from what I've looked into, that one of the big issues with the shipping containers, I think there's a little bit of dodgy practice going on and probably a lack of efficiency, in the sense that there's a lot of boats that are not running at full capacity. So we've got boats running when they probably don't need to be running. A lot of empty containers are being put onto ships and being moved from one port to another. Maybe that's got to do with some basic KPI stuff going on in the background, and I don't know, maybe some of these companies, are loading up boats because they need to hit a certain KPI to actually allow that boat to leave port or something like that, and it looks like they're going to be screwing down on some of that inefficiencies internally. This also reminded me of the XYO project, in the sense that they're looking at bringing out some tracking devices to create an understanding of the, what would you call it, proof of origin to the proof of endpoint or location and those sort of things. I would imagine that at some stage Global Shared Container Platform, or the GSCP, would also have some sort of tracking of these containers to further improve efficiency. What else have I got? I've got a video here. I am going to press play now. It goes for 4 minutes 58, and I'm not going to play it all. However, it's actually a really good video. If you want to watch the whole thing, I suggest you do so. So I'm just going to press play.
Today, the container shipping industry accounts for around 60% of all the world's seaborne trade. But this hugely valuable industry has been troubled for years by challenges like overcapacity and low freight rates, security threats, and increasing environmental regulations. It is a well-known fact in the industry that global shipping needs increased efficiency, improved processes, and a fundamental digital transformation to ensure profitability in the future and to comply with environmental regulations. That is why we are creating the Global Shared Container Platform, transforming the container shipping industry. The GSCP ICO opens in May 2018.
My name is Peter Ludvigsen. I'm the founder of BlockShipping, a Danish company behind the Global Shared Container Platform, in short GSCP. I've been in the container industry for 39 years as a CIO and a consultant, and have worked for Maersk Line and some of the other world-leading shipping companies. And I know that the GSCP platform will solve critical industry problems.
Despite the huge global success of the freight container, it has become clear over the years that in the complex processes of transporting freight around the world, there are still plenty of opportunities to streamline a wide range of processes. At the same time, the shipping industry today is under tremendous financial pressure, and the industry is forced to optimize its processes.
Today we have more than 25 million freight containers in the world. In 2017 they were used for transporting of all kinds of goods at a total value of around $12 trillion. The problem here is that there is no central registry of all these containers, constantly shifting location, incurring payments and changing ownership. This lack of real-time tracking results in a huge number of empty containers being moved around unnecessarily. What we do here is to solve the problem by building the missing container registry, the Global Shared Container Platform, GSCP. It will be based on blockchain and modern sensor technology, and it has the potential to save the global shipping industry around $5.7 billion and reduce the global CO2 emissions by more than 4.5 million tons every year. This is simply a landmark event for the shipping industry.
So yeah, like I said, it is landmark. This is a massive adjustment to their existing systems, and if it creates more efficiency, then it's going to be a winner. The video actually goes on to some testimonials. There's also a few major investors talk about why they've got involved in the actual platform. So if you want to watch that, you can. I'm going to keep on moving. Now, currently there's no solution. Today the container shipping industry accounts for 60% of all the world's seaborne trade, but this is hugely valuable industry has been troubled for years by the challenges like overcapacity, low rates, security threats and increasing environmental regulations. Like I said in the actual video just there, you know, there's some major elements and things that need to be addressed. I mean, they're even missing containers. There's empty containers. Like I said, there's greenhouse emissions. They're also talking about just, I think, streamlining the whole thing as a whole. What else have I got? I jumped into the white paper to have a bit of a grasp on how this all works. Again, there's a little bit of a repeat on what we've just covered. They're talking about how it's a $12 trillion market and that it's 60% of the world's seaborne trade actually goes through this entire system, through the shipping industry, and how it's completely inefficient and somewhat broken at the moment, and what they're looking to do with their platform. The purpose of the Global Shared Container Platform is to provide a global container asset registry where the full global inventory of containers is registered, along with real-time locations of containers in line with these data feeds becoming available over the next 2 to 3 years. To maximise reliability and transparency of this registry, it will be built on state-of-the-art blockchain technology. The overall strategic goals for the GSCP platform are to, number one, become the primary registry and operational payments platform for the entire global container fleet. Number two, achieve 60% market coverage for 16 million container units in the GSCP blockchain registry. Become the leading solution for managing operational payments clearing between stakeholders related to physical handling, haulage and sharing of containers. Number four, become the shipping industry's primary IoT, Internet of All Things platform for real-time tracking of containers, enabling real-time visibility of containers to all stakeholders. Monetize data insight based on machine learning, IoT data, AI and blockchain data. So again, this shows you the power of blockchain, artificial intelligence, how this is probably encryption as well. A lot of privacy would be required in this particular market, no doubt. So that's why blockchain is an obvious choice for this particular industry, and it is massive. The cost reduction potential, I just want to have a look. I don't want to bore you too much with this, but the bottom line is the unnecessary movements of containers and the unnecessary inefficient movements of actual ships from one country to another, where there's a massive amount of global greenhouse emissions and things like that, and they're looking to really cut down on that. And there's obviously a cost involved when you think of the fuel and the man hours and all of that type of stuff. They're going to really tighten the screws, and a lot of that money that they're going to be saving, no doubt, will become a revenue. And if you have a look at how they're distributing their tokens, there's 2 tokens goes back out to the CCC token holders as a dividend or a return or whatever you want to call it, a stake. I'm not too sure on the terminology of that. I've got to be very careful. You need to go and do your research on all of this. This is all very, very new to me as well. So this one actually, as much as I don't necessarily love the look of a shipping container and the entire industry, in regards to from a personal point of view as an investment, it does seem like something to have a look at it and at least consider. But however, this is not financial advice. It's just not very, very careful with that. This is just a very huge market that's about to swing to blockchain, which is very, very exciting for the space, and probably the biggest one that I've seen so far as a whole. What else are they talking about? Oh, they cover the 5.2. They're talking about 4.6 million tonnes of CO2 emissions. The internal token, what have I highlighted here? The internal GSCP token is a utility token created with the purpose of enabling the participants on the GSCP platform to handle transactions in a cheap and efficient way. I think we've covered quite a lot of that. The system is described as a multilateral net settlement system, which means that accounts corresponding to the sum of payments to and from the banks customers are exchanged between banks at fixed times during the day. There's a bit of technical stuff. Obviously, they've got a team with lots of experience, 39 years, as you heard from himself. Bit of information on the token distribution, if that's your thing. It's only going to be 50 million. There's going to be 2 tokens. The one that's available for public is going to be the CCC, and they're going to be encouraging people to buy them and then hold them. And anyone that holds them gets a residual return based on the profits earned and saved from this disruptive technology taking over the shipping container industry. What else have I got? Just other reports. There's a whole heap of stuff in here. It's obviously going to be happening, and whether Peter or not can actually get this over the line is yet to be seen. He seems like he's got a lot of connections. I did go into the Medium. They've got a whole heap of blogs and things in there. Talking about an airdrop, was that? I haven't looked into this enough to get an understanding on what they're actually doing. I think that was already done as past. Pre-sale has already been done, so I think they're coming up to their main sale, if that's what you're interested in. If not, guess what? If you're interested in just blockchain, you're going to find that the GSC SI, or the global container shipping industry, is going to be making some huge swings in the future. So there, that's it. That's all I've got on that one. GSCP platform, changing the way the world deals with freight containers. So creating a seamless registry. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think on this one on my Steemit page. I'm happy to have a conversation there, and tune into my next video. Cheers.